Here.
Alderman Messina.
Here.
Alderman Jacob.
Here.
Alderman Sismarski.
Here.
Alderman Woods.
Here. And I'm here.
And the mayor, please.
And I'm here. Please stand, join the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, I need a motion to approve the July 21st, 2022 regular city council minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, questions, or corrections? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? That passes. Communications and petitions. We'll start with citizens wish to be heard on matters not listed on the agenda. Pat, did you want to?
Sure. Just a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person. Public comment is an opportunity for the public to make comments and share their thoughts with the council. The council does not respond to public comments. This is the public's opportunity to do that. They engage in the discussion and debate at the council among one another. Public comments must be directed toward the mayor, not toward any individual alderman or any other speaker. And public comment must remain civil during the course of that. And anyone who violates the rules or disrupts the meeting will be asked to take a seat.
Okay. First, Mr. Boyd.
Hi, I'd like,
You need to go to,
defer to the end.
defer to the end?
Yes.
Sure.
And one other thing is, we are being tape recorded and videotaped, so please go to the podium. If you do have a cell phone, it will respond, so you need to mute your cell phone or leave it in your chair.
I think this is Marita?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was Maria or Marie.
Hi. My name is Marita Clamp. I'm an employee at the Radcliffe and have been for the past 3 years. I want to thank you all for the best civics lesson over the past couple of months I think I've ever had the opportunity to experience. It's been a confusing process for me. As a group at the Radcliffe, we worked very hard, very thoughtfully to put together a program that we thought would change the scenery, the whole way that senior living looks. And I don't think any of you know this, we've tried to be a very good community partner. For the last 2 years, we've invited your seniors in once a month for a movie, a free meal. It's not just a marketing tool, it's so that when they need us, they are comfortable with our community. They make friends. It's a packed house every month. It's getting bigger and bigger all the time. These are the same seniors that live in your neighborhoods. They send their children to your schools. They shop in your stores. They might have helped vote you into office. And they are good partners with us, and we have tried to be such a strong community member. But it seems it's falling on deaf ears. We've come before the city council, before your business development committee, and they approved us, albeit with some conditions, which were then taken away at this council meeting. Again, confusing to me because we offer information, it often it falls on deaf ears again. We've tried very hard. We've had over 200 people come to us over the last 3 months asking about what the program is because they didn't understand it. And we have been able to explain it in a way that they did understand it and see the value in it. These are our seniors here. We adore them. We spend more time with them than we do our own families. I can guarantee you that they're kind people, they're thoughtful people. We treat them with respect. It is the same thing that we would like to do for foster children in this area because we know that they are also an invisible type of community that will benefit from the caring and the support that we can provide at the Radcliffe. I've written to each one of you, Mayor, to you, to all the aldermen. I've written you to twice through emails trying to explain what the program is and asking if we could have a dialogue about explaining it and how we've come up with this program. And nobody has ever responded to me. I find that confusing. If you really want to know what the program is, why not reach out to one of us and let us give you our viewpoint or explain it to you. So I'm here tonight because I just want you to reconsider and to understand how hard we have worked to put together a valuable program for both the foster children and for the seniors who want it so badly. And I guess since I couldn't get a response to my emails, I would just respectfully ask, what are you afraid of? What do you think is going to happen? If you could respond to that, it would be wonderful.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Alan Semeka.
Thank you. My name's Alan Semeka. I'm with the Radcliffe. I don't think you're bad people. We saw you all vote, but it's possible each of you never actually voted against this project. I think you voted against what you thought the project was. I think maybe you voted against the misconceptions and the simple fears of the misinformed. Therefore, you never had to take seriously the Community Development Committee's work or recommendations because you never permitted a motion that included those important conditions attached to it. You wouldn't permit a vote with the conditions. I don't think you're bad people. My question is, what were you voting against? This can't possibly be what our founding fathers intended. At the committee of the whole meeting, you permitted me 5 minutes, and at the council meeting, you permitted me 3 minutes to explain the intergenerational engagement project with Stanford University and the Radcliffe Vocational Academy. Obviously, there's no way to get to the benefits of either of these programs in 8 minutes of non-interactive one-minute conversation. Some of you tried to ask questions, but we all saw the answers truncated when we tried to navigate the complex rules of this meeting. Further, when you moved to discussion, it was not permitted for me to help clarify even the simplest of questions. With no channel for true communication, how could you be expected to vote? At a June public hearing, the Community Development Committee, they could ask questions and we could answer. The result was a positive recommendation from that group for the project with the conditions that they added. In fact, an early outspoken member of the public against the project later that very night asked me if he could work at the Radcliffe. The CDC voted in favor of this complex topic, but all that came to you from that meeting was 2 pages of meeting minutes after 4 hours of discussion there. How could you be expected to understand what you're voting for? The staff made its positive recommendations. We met all the standards. There was no need for any listing or discussing any accommodations. You all know you were told not to speak with me because of my lawsuit. I have never filed a lawsuit, not ever in my entire life. Not my professional life, not my personal life, have I ever filed a lawsuit. I don't know what you were talking about. More than 300 Wooddale residents, 300, have met with me in large and very small groups to do what you were forbidden to do, learning about the project for seniors and teens, their needs, and the solution. Many people started those discussions with a no vote, but had a chance to learn the truth about the project. How could you be expected to lead with this disconnect? How could you be expected to vote? I'm almost finished. The pattern we keep seeing is simple. People start out afraid, they learn that I'm dependent on happy, safe residents to pay their rents, and they learn what we're really doing there, and they become supporters. Sonny's curiosity, because of his history, got the best of him. It's a speculation, but he learned about the project. I'm guessing that he shared what he learned with Randy, who I happen to know started out very much against this project and ultimately voted for it. They got real information. Alderman Curiali did the best he could, but with the limited, there were so many restrictive rules and we were both trying to respect those rules, he couldn't ask questions and he couldn't leave with information. Later I heard from a third party some of his questions, and I'm sure he would have been very pleased with my answers. Similarly, Mr. Catalano, in a response to a letter from a supporter, shared his concerns. There were 4. 3 of them were absolutely misconceptions. It was not his fault. Without good communication, I don't believe that you know what you voted against. Thank you for your time.
Karen? Bertha? We can give you a microphone if you want.
Oh,
We-
yeah. Okay. Can I move it a little?
Yes, yes. Somebody help her out.
No, I can't.
No, they'll get it for you.
Oh, this is fine. This is just quick and meaningful. My name is Karen. I live at the Radcliffe. For months, I've been excited about having young people in our community to act with. I was a working parent. In my work, I met many different families. I can tell you from getting to know these people, the children who grew up in a home where there was no influence of grandparents are not as good as the others. And I want to play with the kid I want to make a pot on the pottery barn.
Thank you. Turn that microphone on. Marlene? Oh, do you want to use the microphone also?
Yeah.
Okay.
For months now, I've been looking forward to having our new program. We thought it was going to happen after the big meeting at the junior high school, then found out you changed your mind. What is the problem with us having the foster kids to be part of our community? We were really looking forward to having them with us and painting with them and cooking with them and everything.
Thank you. Joyce?
My name is Joyce Citrana, and I live at the Radcliffe also. I've been waiting for these children for a long time. I grew up, my father died when I was 17, and I had my mother live with me until she was 91. Sometimes I would come home from work and I would tell her, you don't have to make supper, I'll make it. But she was always there to make my supper. Even though I did everything else, she had to do my supper. So in her eyes, she had to feel like she belonged. And that's what these children will do for us. We feel that we can help them, and I feel that we will grow more with having them around too. So I really would like you to approve them being in our home for whatever time that there was allowed for this thing. But give us a chance. That's all I'm asking you. I think there are a lot of people are against it because they're fearful that we're going to get, children that are going to go out there and rob their neighborhoods and things like that. But I know Ellen, when he tells us he's going to, they're going to follow his rules in order to come. And I believe him. So I wish you would listen and give us a chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Robin?
Hello. I'm a resident at the Radcliffe, and I have 4 teenage grandsons. And I find that spending time with them benefits me as much as it benefits them. I share what wisdom that I have learned over the years, and they keep me aware of what's happening now. And I'm looking forward to having more grandsons living at the Radcliffe. Thank you.
Thank you. Lee?
I'm Lee Armagast. I'm a new resident at the Radcliffe. My wife is in memory care, And so, as a former teacher, she and I would love to have grandkids through the program that Alan has started, or thinking about start. So I would request your support for the proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Lucy?
Who's in the past?
Patrick?
Now, let me start by saying I've been in your situation. I've also had a business here in Wooddale, so I know how it works here. And your job is to do what's best for the city of Wooddale. These are young people from this community and neighboring communities. That's it. And how you can turn your back on them just because they were dealt a bad hand. These kids have worked harder than my kids and any of your kids to succeed in life without a good parenting situation. You're making decisions, I know this has been said, but you're making decisions based on things that are not true. Some of you have not thoroughly investigated it, because if you have, you couldn't possibly say no. Don't let your decisions be swayed by prejudice and other people's bias. You need to be good Christians and vote yes. Help these young people that need the help. To sum it up, you can discriminately make up a downside, but that isn't fact. That's made up. The fact is there is no downside to this program. Anybody who votes no and says there's a downside is fooling themselves or just flat out lying. These are all good kids. It's a great program. I'm 100% for this program. And I'm going to watch it because my parents are in there, or I should say one parent. One just passed away a few weeks ago. But it's a great program. It's a great building. It's a great whole atmosphere. So you need to investigate what you vote against. Thank you.
Thank you. M. McIntosh?
Good evening. My name is Mary McIntosh. My mom is a resident at the Radcliffe. Recently, someone asked my opinion about the proposed intergenerational program at the Radcliffe. I said I thought it was a great program, and he said that he too thought it was a wonderful program, but he felt that the facility was not appropriate. He had limited knowledge of the facts. For example, his first concern was that there would be 60 young people going to live at the Radcliffe. I tried to explain that this is not necessarily true. I told him that the program would not begin with 60 students, and it would most likely start off with only a few children. Again, I stressed that 60 is only the absolute maximum. This information was shared multiple times at the meeting with the Community Development Commission on June 27th. The man then said that there was no room for recreation at the Radcliffe. I've taken this off. I pointed out that the majority of the young people would be in school where they have an opportunity to join clubs, sports, music, etc., just like any other students. There are common areas on the 4th floor where they can visit, read, watch TV, play games, listen to music, etc. They will be at school most of the day during the week, then come home, study, eat, spend time with their new grandparents, and relax until bedtime, just like a typical day for many children I'm guessing many children among the people here, of you in Wooddale. Another point this gentleman made was that about 36 people are coming from the outside to work at the Radcliffe. It's my understanding that if any new people need to be hired, with the exception of specialists, that Alan is the one who would be hiring them, and he would also have the authority to fire them if they do not carry out their duties according to their job specs. Speaking of jobs, another question this gentleman he raised was about working at the Radcliffe, these youngsters working at the Radcliffe. I stated that there would be some work opportunities within the Radcliffe, as stated by Ellen at the CDC meeting in June. He said he had not heard that, but I know I heard Ellen specifically speak on this topic, and so did the members of the commission and the audience, which he claims to have been in. It is time to listen to the facts, not half-truths, not rumors thrown out there by those who have already made up their minds to vote against this program. Here is a golden opportunity for the Wooddale community to have something that no other place in the entire United States would have. Yet some are doing their darndest to sabotage it. Some, maybe all members of the Community Development Commission, are business people. You think the program would be something they would want to be part of, and the City Council as well. This could be the start of something really big for Wooddale and the surrounding communities. The facts have been provided for all. Please do that. Consider the facts, not rumors, and vote in favor of this program. Thank you.
Thank you. Tia? Tia Jackson? Trey? Oh, I'm very sorry. Look like two T's.
Hi, my name is Treya Jackson, and I'm a former foster child. And I actually wrote 6 books. I actually contributed to a bill that was passed in the state of Illinois by our governor. And there's a lot of stigma with foster kids. I grew up and I lost hope in the foster care system. And when I started to age out, I was not prepared. I had no mentors, I had no role models, I had nothing. I was lucky to come along with some kind of positiveness, and I used my writing to actually to survive it. But I actually went through a lot of hard times, and if I would have been in a program like this, where I had a mentor, someone older, someone to sit down with me and help me, guide me through the roles of life and what it had to offer, I would have had an easier time. A lot of kids are just with this bad stigma that you're a foster kid. And when you do something, it's like you're a foster kid and you don't know how to even get out of it because this bad stigma is following you. But I did great things. I went to school, I went to college, I got 2 master's degrees, and I came back to help children, to help them through the aging out process, because that is one of the biggest failures in our state, is that kids are not ready to go into the world. And I just believe that it's the community's responsibility, not just the state, but the community's responsibility to help these children. So this kind of program, I think it would be very, very positive, and it would help a lot of children. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheryl?
Good evening. My name is Cheryl Summer, and I've been employed with the Radcliffe for the past 3 years. I am here on behalf of our residents who have shared comments regarding the intergenerational program, but could not attend tonight. On behalf of my counterpart, Sue, it is our honor to share some comments. Pat, engaging with the kids will be fun. Darlene, I would like to volunteer to work with the kids. And by the way, she is a fabulous singer. Patty, I would like to share my knowledge of guitar and art, and she is a very creative resident. Carl, looking forward to sharing life stories and companionship with the youth. Surely, it would be nice to see kids in the building. Noreen, sharing the enrichment of our monthly book club and listening to the perspective from the young adults. Francis, with so many senior life experiences, we have a lot to offer. Vito, looking forward to meeting the kids and sharing companionship. Mary, it will be nice to help our youth again. Alice, my foster grandson would not be the same person today had my daughter not adopted him. Bunny, we need to give these kids a chance. We could be grandparents. Emily, we can play ball like I do with my own grandkids. Lois, it will be nice the kids have a new place to live with better opportunities. Marita, we as seniors have so much to offer. Last comment, what happens if I decide I do not want to engage with our youth program? Our residents always have the right to choose and the right to privacy at all times. Thank you for having the Radcliffe back tonight. We are here and in need of a yes vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Barbara?
Hi, my name is Barbara Zabida. I moved to Wooddale 35 years ago, 5 years after my parents moved here, so that my children would be near my parents. I have wonderful parents. My dad lives at Radcliffe. He just turned 100 years old on Tuesday. And they, of course, had a little party for him, and I had one for him over the weekend, which he forgot about. But, and, you know, my kids went to Holy Ghost School, and they played sports. But my mom and dad were always there and available for my children. And I let my dad know that there's going to be children coming to visit, because my children are, you know, there as often as they can be. But I feel that having young children around, especially with my dad, because he's like a big kid himself, just would be so much fun for the children and the seniors. I think these kids need a chance. They all need love, care, and support, as well as the grandparents that are there. I think we should do the next right thing and vote yes for this children, the foster children, to come and live with our parents. I'm very grateful to be here tonight with you all, and I hope we get a vote yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Boyd.
Thank you.
Yeah, we have two more cards, but they're here for a different topic, so.
Okay.
Maybe I'm for the other topics. What were they?
No,
Okay, I asked to be last for a specific reason, because I was thinking of 2 or 3 things that I wanted to talk to you about. One, I thought about talking to the passion and to the love and to the expansion of hearts and minds. And then I wanted to talk to the development of the community in such a way that it attracts new business, because they see programs that are progressive and welcoming, and a community that is also cost effective and has the ability to bring other things into it. And then I got to the third issue that I wanted to talk to you about, which was how this was all handled and what things occurred in the last meeting that I was at. Now, I don't know if Mr. Bond is a authorized agent of this council, or if he is the city attorney who is supposed to give counsel to the members if they ask a question. Because if that's what his position is, then he is improperly instructing the people in this room about what they can or cannot do or say in this meeting. He is acting under the color of authority of this council, and if he's not a member of this council, and if he has not taken the appropriate classes that are required under 5 ICLS 120-1 at SEC, then he has put the meetings that you have had in jeopardy. Because any one of us in this meeting right now, because of his actions, could file suit and have the entire meeting's actions annulled. In other words, anything that you approved, anything that you set forward in the next part could be set aside, and you could be forced under an order on what to do in the future. Now, I say that because after the last meeting, I felt like I needed to do that, but I did not. I came here to see how it was transpired tonight. One of the things you have to think about when you talk to people and what you allow them to do in your meetings is you have to remember a couple of things. They have civil rights. We have due process, even in this meeting. What happened to the councilman last week, if you go through the statutes that govern meetings, you'll find that what he did, what he said prior to the meeting, does not violate it, and he should not have been censored. But that was taken on by whatever your decisions were. Last week, when you guys talked about special use, and there was a question from Mr. Jacobs about whether or not, if it was sold, that it would go on. You know, Mr. Bond, as I know as an attorney, that special use permits are only specific to the user who is requested the permit, and that the next person who comes into line must request for the new permit themselves. So when you say to them that no, it could go on to infinity people, or that it could be passed on just because he sold the business, that is not correct, and you know that by law. Now, the things that I look at here, and I look at what is happening to this group, I look at violations. I look at violations of law. I look at 42 USC 1983, which talks about depriving people of civil rights or other things under the color of law. Now, when we talk about that, some of the things that you have to look at are, one, what are some of the things that can be done? Freedom of speech, the freedom to vote, and to be able to conduct a reasonable chance at livelihood without undue interference. What I have seen in this last meeting, the way some of this occurred, the way you did not follow all the procedures that are required, shows me that you are possibly liable for a 42 USC 1983 violation. What happens then is it's a federal court action that anybody in this room here could bring against you. If they got attorney's fees, those attorney's fees would come from your pocket. It would come from the citizens of this city, which are myself, or this, and I'm not approving of that. That's why when we started this meeting, I mentioned the cards, so that you knew that there's some things that you just aren't supposed to do. Mr. Bond, I know that your firm is also representing the Haymarket people who are being sued. When you look at that, and you look at what's going on here as a city council member, I wonder, have you placed the appropriate Chinese wall in your firm? If you have not, you have violated your duty as an attorney there. So what I'm saying here is that you guys need to look at the entire picture. He needs to think about whether or not he can make recommendations on stuff based on the things that are going on within his firm.
Mr.
And 1 second.
You could direct those to me.
I'm directing it to you. I'm directing it to you. I am telling you what the things are. They're not to Mr. Bond. This is to you. When you, when we go through all of these situations, the big thing is the public has a right to have things done appropriately, legally, and with the greatest chance for you guys to learn what is going on. Every meeting that you have, whether or not it was a public session, whether it was one of the sessions that come before, as councilmen, it is your duty to us to keep your ears and your minds open until the final second of the vote. Because if you close your minds before you walk in this room and you don't listen to the people who are here, then you have done a disservice to our entire community. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Mr. Peter Wang.
Hello, my name is Peter Wong. I've lived in Woodhill for 14 years, and apparently I need to come to more city council meetings. My girlfriend and I, she's moved in with me recently. We went for a bike ride late Tuesday evening, and the following morning she came down with a number of symptoms, including stomach pains, headache, and difficulty concentrating. We found out that day that the area was sprayed for mosquitoes around the same time that we were out. Because my girlfriend is sensitive to chemicals, this probable exposure probably made her sick. We do not know. But if we would have known that there was mosquito spraying, we definitely would not have been out. I admit that I do not follow the news announcements in Woodhill closely, but because of my girlfriend's sensitivity, if we'd seen something with chemical spraying, we definitely would have paid attention. Today, in communication with the city, we found out that the city typically only receives 24 hours notice in advance from city-wide mosquito spraying, and that spraying typically occurs in the evening or early morning hours depending upon the weather. Basically, we were told that when the weather is nice and you want to be outside, they'll come by and maybe they'll spray you with mosquitoes. The CDC page on mosquito spraying does say that often local governments and agencies announce dates and times of spraying in local newspapers, websites, public service announcements, telephones, or through door-to-door notices. We would have appreciated any of those. You could have, for instance, scheduled the spraying and cancel it because of the weather. In addition, spraying to kill mosquitoes is one of the least effective ways and most toxic methods for controlling mosquitoes. By spraying a small amount of poison, and the insecticide is poison, we ensure that the entirety of Wooddale is affected in order to temporarily reduce the number of mosquitoes. And since the adult stage of mosquitoes is very short, it needs to be repeated over and over again. The locally applied insecticides, larvicides, and traps are more effective and less toxic. And more importantly, and probably the most difficult, of course, is the removal of standing water where mosquitoes can grow. In summary, there's two things I would like. One, I think there needs to be greater communication. We did manage with the city to get notifications after talking to a number of people. So next time they're spraying, I'll get a text message, but it took us a long time to figure that out. And although I'm not against mosquito abatement, I believe there are safer and more effective ways than spraying. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Tannhauser.
My name is Michael Tannhauser. I live on 470 Dunley. I've been residing there for 32 years. My question to the council is, to my assumption, we were all zoned as a single family. The house that is just to the east of me, I think it's 472 Dunley, was sold, and it was purchased by, I think, Oxford. And right now there are at least 9, I think they can go up to 10 individuals living in that facility. My question to the council is, what is the definition of single family? Are we single family? It prevents abuse, what I think, of what's happening right now. My home is an investment. It's a great neighborhood. People are great. But my concern is, well, how do you qualify and how do you define single-family residence? We were all shocked when this happened, that now there are 9 people, not relatives, that are residing in this home. And so I'm just asking for the council to please define what is single family, how did this happen to allow this, and what is the remedy? Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments I might have missed? Okay. Written communiques, I have one. From the Historical Society, they're gracious for the $7,000 donation for their continuing programs for first graders, Fenton volunteers, and combining with library on events and displays. They invite all families to become members of the Historical Society, many events held during the year. And if you'd like to become a member, business memberships, family memberships, individuals, and seniors. Okay, next, under Mayor's Report, we've got one item. Sonny Sorrentino, Ward 3 Alderman, resigned from his position at the last City Council meeting on July 21st, 2022. The resignation was effective immediately. Alderman Sorrentino returned all city property last week. His resignation has been accepted. In light of that resignation, I'm declaring a vacancy in the office of Alderman for Ward 3. And we thank him for his service. Next, Mr. Murmas, Manager's Report.
Thank you. One item this evening, I would like to thank very much both staff and the City Council for all the hard work and volunteerism that went about for Prairie Fest 2022. It was one of our most successful community festivals ever, and I'd also like to thank the most important group of all for making that a success, which was the Wooddale residents. I hope they enjoyed the fest, and they are what makes the fest great. That concludes my report.
Thank you. No consent agenda this evening. Committee chairman reports. Public Works, Alderman Messina.
Report, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Approval of final payment to FERPAL Construction USA LLC for the Roy Drive Water Main Lining Project in the amount of $49,200. That would be my motion.
Second.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any questions? Alderman Catalano.
Yeah, I got several calls from the residents, and they want to thank the city for getting this job done, because over the years there's been many breaks, and they appreciate it. So I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call.
Alderman Ames? Yes. Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Currielli?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
And that passes.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
Okay, Planning and Zoning, Alderman Woods.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Finance and Administration, Alderman Catalano.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Public Health and Safety, Alderman Sismarski.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Nothing under other business. Approval listed bills, Alderman Catalano.
Yes, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the list of bills for August 4th, 2022 in the amount of $498,025.01.
I'll make the motion.
He made the motion. You second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Alderman Jacob.
Yeah, there was one, and I don't see Brad present, but maybe Mr. Murmas could answer. There's several checks for info send. It looked like it was for late fees, but we spent like $5,000 in postage. Is that for all water bills, or was that just for late fees? It seemed pretty excessive.
Go ahead, Mr. Murmas.
Unfortunately, I have a lot of these memorized, but with millions of dollars of expenditures, I don't have this one. But I can circle back at next week's council.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Roll call.
Alderman Ames? Yes. Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Currielli?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sismarski?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
And that passes. No executive session items to be referred. I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.